Hi, everybody. Welcome to Christian Homestead. My name is Jared. Have a new studio, have a new house. So I'm not recording my videos in my closet anymore. I actually wasn't a big fan of that. I want my channel to be bright, both literally and figuratively. I feel like I'm an optimistic person. I bring a hopeful message, the message of Jesus Christ, and I want to relay the words of the prophets, and they are optimistic and bright, and that's who I am. And in that house that we were renting, I loved, the wooden boards behind me. I thought that was really neat, but it was really cramped and it was dark. And I struggled with the lighting most of the time that I was in that house. But now I have a proper studio. It's not set up yet. The big move day was yesterday. And, pretty soon here we'll have it set up, and next time I record, it'll look better. I'll be shaved once I find my razor. But I had a few thoughts that I wanted to share. I wanted to talk about some lessons that I've learned recently. I also want to talk about independence. I also want to talk about talking more about what I think is unfolding with Community of Christ and what I'm going to do moving forward. So those are the three main things that I want to talk about. The first thing is it's not worth it. It is not worth it trying to force your plan, your ideals onto reality. We all have a preferred path, right? And one thing that this move has taught me is that I don't know what I don't know. I don't even know myself very well, and I don't think any of us do. The reason why I say that is because when we first moved from near Wichita here to Independence, Missouri, we didn't know how long it would take to sell that house. We needed to get into a bigger place fast. And so the first place that we found on Zillow to rent was this amazing house, big, spacious, updated, and of all places here in Independence, Missouri, of all places. We came, they had it to where you had to come and physically tour the house before you could sign the lease. And so we came, and sure enough, it matched the pictures. The listing was honest, and there was so much that I loved about that house to where I was like, you know what, if they ever sell this house, I want to buy it, because they had put in a lot of work into that house. I think they added on to it, and it was just so comfy and just a good place, or so I thought. It was. And so when the time came that we found out that they were going to sell the house, we were like, oh, okay, well, maybe we'll buy this house. But we also decided to look at other places, and something unexpected happened. We didn't feel good about buying that house that we were renting. And it didn't make any sense to me. This is where we're getting to the point that I want to share of it's not worth it. I could have stuck to my own theories about, yes, this house is good because this and the bathroom, the kitchen, wide open spaces, tall ceiling, all these things. Like, in theory, it's an ideal house. But we started to look at other houses. We wanted to stay ideally in Independence, and we came across this house that we purchased. When we first stepped inside, my wife and my girls went in first, and they had like this reaction to it where they were just like, oh my gosh. I was like, oh, is it like better than what we saw in Zillow? And I looked inside, I'm like, no. Why are they so excited about this? We walked through the house and toured it, and I just started feeling good. I just started feeling good inside. And I recognize that feeling. It's the Spirit. I felt the same way when we were moving from Arizona to Kansas. That house, the homestead, the namesake of this channel, uh, it was less property than we wanted. But when our realtor sent us the email, it felt good. And after we moved to Kansas, it turned out, yes, that was definitely the right place for us, even though I couldn't see it at the time. And well, I feel confident that I can say the exact same thing is happening here. As I started to walk through the house, I felt just a very warm, peaceful feeling. Um, but then it wasn't until we started moving in over the last couple days, once we closed on the house, and that I've like really started to realize, oh my gosh, this house is actually better than the other house, even though it doesn't have some of those other features. Um, so it's like the point is, you don't really know yourself until you're in certain situations. You may have a really good theory about what you want and what your preferences are, but you don't really know. You don't. And I had one of these moments where now that, this is our reality, it's so much more comforting living here. The layout, the floor plan, the neighborhood, just lots of like little things are sticking out to me at this moment. And I'm so happy that we live here. And so I think a lot of times in life, we try and force our theories of what's best for us, and we try and make it happen. And sometimes we do. But the thing is that we're not doing this life alone. We're doing it with the Lord. He is willing to be there and guide you. And He does know. He does know all your preferences, and He does know what's best for you. And so I think that a lot of people miss out on blessings, opportunities, because they stick rigidly to their plans and they don't follow the promptings of the Spirit. My life has, has not gone at all the way that I thought it was going to go. And thank goodness. I've said it a million times. I never planned on leaving Utah. I was very proud of my pioneer heritage on my dad's side. And Utah, it was home. And I just wanted to get into accounting. And that's what I was majoring in. And I was like, okay, this is a really good plan. And it was. But the Lord suggested other things. And we picked up on that fact and we followed it. And it took me on this really roundabout path that led me to Arizona and then the Army and then back to Arizona and then Kansas to Homestead and now Independence, Missouri. I wouldn't give any of this up. The Lord knew. So it's like, it's a partnership. You still have agency and you choose your preferences, but He also will prompt you, especially if there's something that He wants you to do. And in my case, I think He did want me to come here, probably because of this channel, because I get to cover all these interesting things that are happening here firsthand. Last year there was the dedication of the Charles C. Rich Cabin at Far West. I was here for the Aurora on November 11th. The exact halfway point between when President Nelson passed away and President Holland. Exactly in the middle, the Aurora was visible again for the third time since 2024. And I got to record that over at the Temple lot. So it's just these worldly things that we strive for. Like we should be educated, and you should do your job well. You should try to acquire wealth. You should, because you can do more good when you have more resources. I've said this before on the channel, I think about the Joseph Smith Papers website. I remember when I was living in Utah, I would go to watch a movie like at Jordan Commons in Sandy. And while you're waiting for the movie to start, before the previews start, they have like the, commercials going. And the church, I guess, paid for a slot to let people know about the Joseph Smith papers. I had no idea what that was. I was like, what's the Joseph Smith papers? I didn't really understand until I started this channel and started using them. It's a collection of all these primary sources, journals and letters and stuff. Um, a lot of the things that you've heard growing up, it comes from this collection of primary sources. But Larry H. Miller, who, well, he owned Jordan Commons actually. He was a very wealthy member of the church. He had Jordan Commons, maybe Jordan Landing too. I'm not sure. He had all the car dealerships and many, many businesses. He owned the Utah Jazz. And because of his wealth, he was able to, I think he was like the main donor that made the Joseph Smith Papers project possible, because it was not cheap. And I think he donated something like $10 million. So I'm all about being successful, but we have to include the Lord in our life. You know, if we fight for comfort and we fight for material possessions, and we get so wrapped up in the world, to where, you know, the Lord's like over here and we're just like focused on our homes and our careers and our legacy that we're going to leave behind. That may not be the right path. And you just don't even know. You don't know, because for all you know, there may be some completely different thing in this world that would be better than what you're doing. So in other words, just like a stupid example, I never cared for golf growing up. I never played it. I was just like, oh, that's like for, that's nice, but it's not really for me. But once I got married and married into this family, they all like to golf. And so, okay, fine, I'll go golfing. And then to my surprise, I really like golf. I really like it. I was just taken aback by how fun golf is. And I immediately wanted to buy my own clubs and whatever. Unless you can sample everything that there is in this world, you don't really know what you prefer, what your favorite things are. We have to just like work with what we've got. And so that's why it's a really good idea to partner with the Lord, to do what he would have you do, because we know that this life is not meaningless. We lived with him before we came here. There was a pre-mortal life, and we've learned that you have trained and learned and acquired skills to do things here in this life. And so we need to partner with him to do those things. And that may take you away from your preferred path, which may not even be preferred if you knew everything that's out there. We don't know ourselves that well. But on top of that, you know, when you serve the Lord, yeah, it's probably going to require a sacrifice, but he also does want us to be happy in this life. And I think that he does bless us with things that he knows that we'll enjoy for us and for our families. Like I said, I would not, if I were to go back in time to Jared going to Salt Lake Community College, I would not tell him, you know what, you need to stick with it. You need to get your accounting degree, become a CPA. I would not do that. Nope. Not at all. Because the Lord has given me such rich experiences, and I've lived in so many places that I would not give this up. So I'm going to trust him. I'm going to trust him because he may know a thing or two. He created the universe. He created me. He created you. He knows what you want. He knows what you like. And he also has things for you to do. So it's not worth it stressing about your plans, trying to make things work that really aren't meant to work, not in your life. We got to be flexible. You know, if you're trying to make something work, there may be a reason why that thing is not working. And I think that we also need to be ready to fail. You know, I put that in, quotation marks. fail. Um, it's okay. It's okay if you're doing the best that you can and there's nothing else you can do. You don't stress over things that you can't control. That's like another important concept is like we're always trying to control our life. And ultimately, it's the Lord that's in control. And so it's kind of like you're trying to be your own God when you're trying to control everything. Because again, you push him out, and you know best. You know exactly what's supposed to happen. You're going to make it happen. No, just if something is not working and you pray about it, and the Lord is comforting, just let it go. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And for me, time and time again, when I thought I had failed, I did not. I was taken to a much better place, doing much better things than I could have dreamed of. That's how I feel. I wouldn't care. Like, of course I would care. Of course I would care. But if I were to go bankrupt, if I had to flee to another country, if there was like some major disruption in my life, I know that things would work out. And ultimately, as we think about Troy, who recently passed away, we know that it comes to an end in this life. The material things in this life, the worldliness, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. We're here. The most important things is to learn how to be a disciple of Jesus Christ and follow his commandments, become more like him, and then to establish and work on our relationships with others and to serve them. That is all that matters in this life. Or those are the top things, and everything else is just tangential. So let's move on a little bit. I just want to give you a little update of what it's been like living here in Independence, and then after that, I want to talk about Community of Christ. So I did not know really what to expect moving here. Up until this point, as far as big cities go, I'd only ever lived in the Salt Lake area and then Phoenix. And I love both of those cities. And this felt very foreign. It was already foreign enough moving to Kansas and just out in the boonies. But moving to the Kansas City area, I've always thought like the Midwest and anywhere else in the country might as well be another country. But as always, I've acclimated and I've come to love this place. And I specifically love Independence. There's parts of it that are not great, that I don't really, frequent any stores or restaurants in certain areas. But there are many other areas that are just fine and great and places that I like. We do most of everything that we do, like errands, we do it pretty much all here in Independence. I've been surprised that Independence, it basically, as you go east, it starts to become homesteads and farmland within city limits. And it's just absolutely beautiful as you head east, even as you go south. It's been really special to be so close to the Temple Lot, and every chance that we get, we drive by there. Sometimes we just go on drives and we drive to the Temple Lot because we think about its past. When I say its past, we're talking about the Garden of Eden. And then we think about its future. Someday there will be a temple there. There's going to be a 24 temple complex. And I feel like things are happening, both in Independence and in the Kansas City area. I'm excited to see the church grow here. We have this new mission that's going to be created a little bit later this year. It's not just going to be the Missouri Independence mission. It's going to be the Missouri Kansas City mission. That's going to be the new mission. And I don't know. It's home now. We've decided to buy a house and live here. And I don't want to leave this house for a long time. I'm not opposed to moving somewhere else, but I would also like to just stay put. And one thing that bothered me when we first moved here is that we were renting a house. And as we think about the future of this area, I'd prefer to own land. I don't know how things are going to go in the transition from the pre-millennial age, this side of the second coming to the millennium. I don't know what's going to happen with land and possessions and how the Lord is going to structure his kingdom. I assume that the law of consecration is going to be implemented, like when it comes to being consecrated or being given it. How's it go? Like the way that it was is that you'd go to the bishop and they would give you a deed for your land. You'd be a steward over the land that you live on. Gosh dang it, I wish I remember all the terms and everything. I did a video about this one time. Okay, whatever the case, it's just nice now to have a more permanent presence in Independence. It feels good. I think about one of my ancestors, Levi Jackman. He's my great, 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 great grandfather. His name is on the 8 Witnesses Monument in Liberty. Not because he was one of the 8 witnesses, but on one of the sides, it's dedicated to the first stake presidency in Missouri and High Council, and he was on the High Council. And when I discovered that, I didn't know, I knew of him. He was with that first group that entered the Salt Lake Valley. That's what I knew about him until I moved here. But once I saw his name on the monument, I looked it up. I read through his autobiography. And he lived in Jackson County. He didn't live here in Independence. He lived in Kaw Township, which is basically now modern day Kansas City. I think his autobiography said that he lived like 10 miles west of Independence. But he was here. And up until this point, I knew that I had some ancestors that lived like in Far West. And I think there was one that they had a brief mention that they lived in Adamonte-Amen, and then also another one in DeWitt. But that's all that I knew. And so he obviously has many descendants, who knows how many, but I like the idea that I've returned to Jackson County, maybe partially on his behalf, to live here and for his posterity to return. I don't know if my kids are going to stay here, but at least for right now, we're back. And I don't really have any plans on moving, but that could change. So I love it here. I love the Kansas City area. I love getting to know Independence and Kansas City and the surrounding cities and its character. And it feels good. And it's a beautiful place. It's very green. It's very hilly. We like driving out into the country. It's a beautiful area. And I don't really have any complaints about, the people here or the wards or anything like that. I don't know. So again, if you're thinking of moving to this area, the Kansas City area, I said this, I think in the live stream that I did earlier today. I'm recording this on, what is today? I'm recording this on the 16th. If you're thinking of moving to this area, send me an email. I'd be happy to refer the agent that we used to purchase this house. She was just simply amazing. She has such a kind heart. She's warm. She's a professional. She knows what she's doing. And I really appreciated her services. And so put it in the subject line if you want me to refer you to each other. Okay. And then lastly, Community of Christ. So I've done a series of videos talking about Community of Christ, and it seems like they're gearing up for a big change. I assume it probably has to do with the temple and the auditorium, but it could just be some other type of restructuring within their church. But it seems really clear that they're gearing up for something, and we'll probably see whatever that is this year. Well, I've since my last video, I have even more insights, but I don't want to just like keep doing videos about them because I don't want to like be antagonistic or seem like I'm rejoicing in their downfall or anything like that, because that's not who I am. I am interested in our own interests with the temple lot and the surrounding area, but I don't have any ill feelings toward them. But so it's like I feel like I have this responsibility to report. Like, I'm not like a professional journalist, but I'm just kind of like this amateur journalist in a way. I'm here, I'm seeing these things, I'm analyzing things, and I want to report what I'm seeing. And so I think what I'm going to do is, going forward with like smaller things, like interesting things, um, I'm gonna do like members only videos for that, until like there's like the big announcement, or if there's like big news, then I'll do it on the main channel. But if you're interested in those insights, then you might consider doing members only. I'll probably make a video about it next week, and I'll probably have several videos. There's actually things that Joseph Fielding Smith said that I feel like are relevant, maybe to what's going on right now. So I'll probably do a video about that. But I just wanted to give you a heads up. If you see videos that I put out about Community of Christ, I don't want it to be like a big public thing and just keep. I don't want to be like the Salt Lake Tribune that's always like doing these passive aggressive articles about the church and always playing devil's advocate. I don't want to come at it with that kind of spirit. I respect Community of Christ. I wish them the best. I haven't had any negative experiences with them. So I just want to take it to a more just private level. And if you're interested, then we'll just talk about it more privately with members only. So that's all I have for tonight. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for your kind words as we've discussed Troy in his passing, which I can't believe. But again, I assure you, just knowing him, he is in a better place, and he is finally at rest from all the turmoil that he's been experiencing the last year and a half. And we are going to see him again because of Jesus Christ and his atonement. We know that everyone will be resurrected, and we will see him again. And I have no doubt he's going to be in that first resurrection and at the time of the second coming, and we're going to see him, and it's going to be good. Okay, that's going to be all. That's going to be it for this one. I'll talk to you guys later.